We'll start with a quick intro of Timmy, what we are doing, who we are, some interesting stats, both from global trends and also some interesting facts from Timmy data. Before we're going to dive in, Tom, say hello and introduce yourself for the audience.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming along today. So I'm Tom, and I head up employer branding and sourcing for HiBob. HiBob is an Israeli-founded tech startup in the HR space, and my responsibility is to ensure we have a global employer branding presence and growing it for all of our markets. We're hiring a lot, and we'll get into that a bit more later on. But yeah, thank you for coming along today. Thank you for wanting to listen to what I have to say as well, and hopefully there'll be something that you can gain from my experience and our experience of building our employer brand.
Perfect. Thanks, Tom. Everyone, feel free if you want to ask Tom or myself something in the Q&A. We prepare lots of material for you, but feel more than welcome to interrupt us in the conversation. So just before we will start, just a quick explanation and introduction about Timmy. Timmy is a video marketing platform in the HR space. We basically believe that we all should make the hiring much more fun than we have today. So we have built a platform that helps companies collect, manage videos, and at the end of the day, share those videos and interaction through all candidate touchpoints. Anything that is a career site interactivity platform, through a video job ad to help you marketing and share some information on marketing campaigns. If you want to share videos on your ATS email communication, so we have some ability to help you and create a much better experience for your candidate, to welcome your candidates and have and embed videos through those type of messaging. And last but not least, upload videos and add some interaction to your social media contents and add a layer of personalization through your social media content. And the next thing, this is what we are working out with HiBob. We have built what we call a localized Netflix career site where we take all the content that we have created together and build a personalization career site to enable your candidate to see different type of department, different type of location, and have a super personalized experience once they enter to your career site. So we do have solution starting from a full solution career site all the way to different type of interaction. Of course, we have helped lots of companies to create those type of content using our dashboard system, as well as tracking analytics on everything that is happening on the platform. I like to give like some example from our clients, but I think what is really important for all of us from the talent acquisition perspective is what do candidates think about seeing those type of content. And I think this is what is really important for us to emphasize today. So candidates who see those type of content, who understand who are the people, who understand the culture, who understand the DNA of the company, are coming much more prepared to any of the interviews, to the onboarding session. They feel much connected to your brand. And this is probably one of the most important things when you are using video. I want to share with you a few stats, not necessarily from Timmy, but to give you like a broader perspective on candidate experience in general. So I took some stats from Talent Board, the Candidate Experience Award, and as per today, almost 70% of job seekers apply via mobile. That means that we need to understand how we build our experience and how we build our communication using mobile experiences. Most of them are either Gen Z or millennials. It means that we need to talk and to build innovative solution and experience for them to understand what they really need and what they really care about. There are three things they care about. One, they want to have a clear understanding of your company culture. They want to see what is the DNA and what are the values that leads you as a company before they even apply. So either before they apply or either after or through the process of the hiring or the recruitment. They want to have an insight into the employee experience. They want to feel part of your team. They want to understand how their day-to-day will look like. They want to imagine. This is something that is really unique for the new generation. They want to feel part from day one and being part of your team. And they want to feel connected and to have a sense of connection with your brand. Which type of content are really important when generating recruitment marketing content? First of all, talk about your company values. Second, talk about the culture, show the culture. And of course, show diversity and inclusion at your company. Now I want to share with you some stats from Timi data based on what is happening on our platform. We gathered some data in the last months based on 75,000 candidates that have watched our content. First of all, we have seen 2023 was a different year than we were used to in the tech, mainly in the tech industry. And we have seen it also in the content that candidates are looking for. Candidates are looking for content, for tips. They want to have stability. They are looking to understand what is the potential growth and development, less than they used to have different type of content like in the 2022 or 2021 about fun, about culture, some office tour and environment. People really love to interact with content. All of us are using social media, and the reason we built our platform as a feed experience, like a TikTok experience, because people, and we have seen this in our data, the average of feed scroll per user is 7.5. It means that user enter, see videos, and they will continue to scroll, they continue to interact with your content. It means that they are eager to learn and understand much more about your company, and you just need to enable the platform for them to interact with your content. And last but not least, I'm working with lots of companies out there. They are generating lots of videos. However, people today really tend to spend much less time on videos than before. We all know that, but however, we still tend to spend lots of resources in creating like those amazing videos of 2.5 minutes. At the end of the day, average watch time for video in Timi platform is 5 seconds. It means that we need to generate lots of content, short form content, and to understand like the social media vibes. Tom will talk about it later, but we have done lots of videos creation together in our platforms. More than 100 videos that we have generated together, hundreds of dozens of thousands of candidates that have watched those type of content through different type of sites: Portugal, Germany, UK, Israel, United States, and many different type of sites and departments. And that's in general. Tom, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Yotam, and thank you for having me today. So I want to give everyone hopefully maybe some useful tips and tricks and give a bit of the story of what I've been doing at HiBob and what we have done as a TA team. A little bit of background on myself. So I have been in recruitment now for coming up to 10 years. I started in agency recruitment, predominantly tech. And I have moved internally, worked for a few different businesses, predominantly within the startup scale-up space. And for me, my interest and passion has always been trying to understand what makes people change their behavior or to buy a certain thing. So that's where the marketing aspect comes in. And that's why I have sort of gone down this route to specialize within employer branding and recruitment marketing, and to really sort of help understand why people do what they do and then work it back from there. And I think it's very relevant to recruitment marketing, particularly video content. So part of my goal at HiBob is to have a consistent employer value proposition and a consistent recruitment brand globally. So we at HiBob, we are headquartered over in Israel, but we have offices across Europe, London, Germany, Lisbon. We also have a presence in the US as well, in New York, and also in Australia. So one of the challenges for us is having a brand, a message, a consistent voice of what it's like to be a bobber, what it's like to work at HiBob, and to attract talent that is varied as well. So we hire everything from tech sales all the way through to software development, and everything in between, as you can imagine. So part of what we found very early on, or what I found very early on, is that to get people engaged, candidates in particular, whether they are on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever platform they may be on, coming to your career site, as Yotam mentioned earlier, they don't look at content for long. You know, having paragraphs written in a job description of how great your company culture is, how, you know, amazing it is, the job that you're hiring for is, you know, people are only reading the first, second sentences, if that, you know, particularly if the content isn't very engaging. So what we looked at was sort of taking more of a high level strategic look at the marketplace and trends, and in particular TikTok. I'm probably going to talk about TikTok quite a bit on this call as well, but the pandemic, I think, really accelerated the move to quick fire, easily digestible content, and that translates really well for recruitment as well, because if candidates are seeing that in their personal lives, they're consuming that content on various different media profiles, there is a hunger and a want to have that as well for the type of content that they may be seeing on LinkedIn, maybe consuming as part of their job hunting process. And also as well, what has become particularly important and a big trend is for candidates to want to see the real life behind the job advert or behind the company profile. You know, every business can have a LinkedIn page saying how great it is to work there, but having that authenticity to be able to have an insight into those people behind the image, behind the job description, behind the advert is becoming increasingly important. So the main point on that around the authenticity piece is that you can't force anyone to film content for your organization. It's typically not a paid incentive to get people to want to film content or to film testimonials. It's typically, you know, you're using or engaging with, you know, very engaged employees, people that feel strongly about your culture and your brand. And I think candidates and consumers will see that and will get that vibe from the content that they're seeing as well, from that video content. You can't force anyone to film. You can't force anyone to, you know, pick up a camera and want to speak on LinkedIn. It's a pretty daunting concept. And for a lot of people, it's a pretty alien thing to do, film video content and put that out online. It can be pretty scary. So the fact that people want to be a part of the HiBob employer brand and want to be a part of getting that message out online in itself, I think sends a very powerful message to the audience that, you know, this employer, you know, must have, you know, a really safe, you know, supportive environment for people to be able to be confident and put their experience out there online. And I think, Yotam, we've found as well when we were filming with our latest round of sales testimonials, you know, it can be a very you know, a process of getting people engaged and to want to film content, you know, can be a lengthy process. But I'll talk a little bit more about some quick fire wins and ways to do it. But from our experience, when you have people that volunteer to come and want to speak on your behalf and show their voice online, they're typically very engaged, and the content naturally from that point onwards becomes very powerful just through the sheer use of their voice.
But Tom, if I can interrupt, so like I think this is super challenging for anyone who's listening to encourage employees inside the organization, either they are using video or without video, to become like a brand ambassador. This is a challenging part, and I assume it will always be. However, I'm wondering from your perspective, if once you have add those employees to become ambassadors, do the videos have a much stronger impact, or like how have you seen those videos in comparison to other type of content? Because having an ambassador to advocate your brand, it will always be challenging, no matter which type of content you decide to create. But what was the impact of generating those pieces of content from those ambassadors?
Yes, yeah, and very good point. It can be a challenge, but I think the impact. There's a couple of examples I'm happy to share with everyone. So I'm going to send the link through the chat. Hopefully, everyone can see this. This was one of the first projects actually that I worked on when I joined HiBob. For the context, so the challenge was in the US, we didn't have a particularly strong consumer brand. We weren't necessarily very well known in the market. We certainly weren't known as a startup tech employer, and the reputation was that, you know, we were a startup of 50 people. You know, we were coming to New York, we were probably going to fail. Actually, in reality, you know, we were at the time around, you know, 600 people business globally, with numerous funding and VC rounds behind us. So the challenge was to educate and show the tech market that we were a serious competitor and, you know, a serious employer as well. So I think before I joined, you know, it was the typical like ads of like putting out job descriptions, maybe like spending some money on Indeed, putting some, you know, trying to revamp different, like getting some images of the team and posting them through LinkedIn ads, but they weren't getting the traction, and we were trying to look at why. So one of the things that we did, and the link that I sent you, is a tour of our New York office. So we worked with Ashley, who is our office manager in New York. And for anyone here, I know none of you probably know Ashley or worked with them. They are the nicest person. They are the face of HiBob New York. So we wanted to capture that, because that is a real, genuine person that works at HiBob, and also that is the experience that people have internally. It felt like it was very authentic. It wasn't a you know, something that we had to force or to train. It was a genuine insight into what it's like when you come to the office in the US, and a little bit more around, you know, about us and what we're doing. So the impact from that one video, so you can see on that post, you know, that just engagement on that post, we had over 100 likes. We ran it also as a paid campaign as well, over 12,000 impressions. And what was interesting as well is our click-through rate for that particular ad was over 4%. So, and typically before that, we were getting sort of up to around 1% for other types of adverts that weren't video content. So you can very quickly see there, for something that was relatively easy to film, relatively easy to create, using people that we already have, the impact that had. And I have, like, we have run workshops internally recently this year. I was in Amsterdam running some advocacy workshops with the team, and one of the questions that I asked was, how did you hear about HiBob before you joined? And two people mentioned the Ashley video as one of the things that they noticed when researching HiBob. So there's the stats that you can track in an ad, or through the TeamMe platform of clicks and likes and everything like that. But there is the unmeasurable impact that video has as well, right? That you only get from those workshops, that brand awareness piece from a video, which it was edited and we put it online, but it didn't cost like £1 million to produce. It wasn't like a cinema piece. Really had the impact, and now when we advertise for AE roles or particularly sales roles, we get an influx of inbound applications, and the role that video and other videos have played in that brand impressions, I have no doubt that the impact that using video has had, particularly for the US as an example.
So that's amazing to see the stats, and I think that's great that you are following stats and showcase ROI using data. I'm curious also to learn about the leverage of those type of video in different platforms. So LinkedIn, it's kind of goes without say. Many people are using videos on their LinkedIn, but I think what is really unique at your case is the ability to share it through different type of platforms. So also on your career site, on the job description, on your LinkedIn page, and by the way, you must see their life tab on their LinkedIn. This is amazing. It really have lots of impact for candidates, and also using those type of videos on email marketing or email message to candidates. So can you elaborate a bit more about using those videos in different type of platforms?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, in a nutshell, use video across all of your candidate touch points as like I would just say as a minimum rule. Again, it's all about consistency. If they can see the video on your LinkedIn live page, if they can go to your career site and see the same content, if they, whatever touch point that candidate has, map that out and making sure it's there at all points. Some examples of how we've used it, like your Tom said, LinkedIn's almost a given. We use it for in-mail outreach. So I also sort of head up the sourcing function, where we are, cold outreaching to passive candidates and headhunting talent for HiBob. We done some A/B experimenting where we created an email. We sent to one portion of candidates the email message. We sent to the other half, I think it was 40-40. We sent exactly the same email message, exactly the same content. The only difference is that we added a video of the hiring manager speaking about their team. And we had around just over 20% increase in email acceptance rate from the group of people that we sent the email with the video link. So just there again, that's another avenue. That's not even necessarily using video to advertise, just giving people that view, that window in, has that powerful impact on just people accepting the email. So I think when you're another sort of really powerful thing when you're creating video content is that it's a quick create some content, and the use that video has, we're using videos that we created a year ago. We're still using them for different use cases, whether that email. We have also this year launched our first TikTok for recruitment channel, which his initial results are proving very strong. in terms of engagement and outreach. You know, we're using that content, like your term said, on our LinkedIn Live pages, on our emails to candidates, email reach out, interview confirmations, Indeed, job adverts, various different sources. It could go on for forever, sort of the different uses that you can use. And I think as well, it's important to always think, like, at the back of your mind, okay, like, we're trying something new here, we're doing something different here, we have this new job board that we're bringing on board. You know, how can we use video in that space? Glassdoor is another great example. We've really sort of been able to get some really great engagement on Glassdoor, again, through using video, through using the content that's already created. So when you come to release for these new platforms, it's content you already have, you know, either a library or a bank of videos. The uses for it are you know, pretty much endless, particularly for candidate outreach.
Tom, I think many in the audience probably might have tried to produce videos, or might seem this as like a tough, challenging task. And I think what you have approved, and if you want to share a bit, is the easy and flexible experience that you have had with your colleagues, the employees at iBob. How easy was it to generate those type of content? You know, we used to a different generation where like creating videos is an expensive, tough project that we need to work on it like months ahead. So maybe you can share a bit on how was it from your experience, you know, and also as a global role, you know, that you are working with different type of people around the world. So maybe if you want to share some thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I think the short version is that everyone, you know, has a typically, if anyone has a smartphone, you've got the tools to be able to film content. Is long and short of it. You know, some of the best video. I'm going to send another example in the chat here from our sales development director. This was a video that she filmed in the office in a booth. I think it took her in total about 10 minutes after a couple of takes. Just filmed with an iPhone in the office, some good lighting, and she spoke to the camera, answering a question. And it's actually been one of our best performing videos in terms of engagement and likes and everything like that. So I would say video content is so easy to create now. Like I say, as long as you have a decent enough smartphone, it can be done. Editing is pretty easy and pretty standard these days to be able to you know, maybe put some background music on. My advice would be to look at different ways to get subtitles in. That's what we have found particularly useful, particularly from an inclusive marketing point of view. Having subtitles is the norm now. But aside from that, you know, I would say film it on your phone and have a go at posting it. It's I think it's a brave step. Putting yourself out there online, whether that's yourself or a team, it can be pretty daunting, you know, because once something's out there, you know, you're putting your thoughts, your feelings, you know, you're putting yourself in a position where people are going to see you and see the real you. But I would say have a go, record the content on your phone, and have a play with it as well. You know, send, maybe, you know, do some A/B testing, try it, like a couple of different variations. We've had the example that I sent with Tiffany, we sent her some questions to answer and film herself answering those questions as pointers. We've done some like the Ashley video, which is more like a tour, day in the life. We have some content of some of our employees featuring their stories of being promoted. I would say, you know, tailor it to the individual that you would like to feature. Tailor what they're going to speak. I would typically avoid having any videos scripted. I think questions and prompts work really well. I think Yotam mentioned this stat before. Typically people are viewing videos for 5 seconds or less is like the average viewing time of videos. So again, keep it snappy. One question videos work really, really well for us. Sort of 15-20 second videos, 30-second videos work particularly well. I would say keep them snappy. Keep them one question answers. But again, it might work differently for your audience, and I would say just have a go tailoring it to your audience. So one thing that we did, when we were filming content for our software engineers, that audience that we want to reach, just want to know numbers. Why would they want to come and be a software developer here versus every other company that's hiring software developers abroad? So we tailored the angle to be very specific towards our tech stack and the opportunity to progress at HiBob. So again, think about it, I suppose, think about it from the perspective of the types of people that you're trying to get in front of and approach, and work it back from there. But yeah, in short, pick up your phone, film some content, have a bit of a plan behind it, what questions you want to answer, and that would probably be the best way to start. Just do it.
We have few minutes left, so if someone have a question, so you can feel free to ask. Tom, do you want to summarize? If anyone will have question, we will definitely answer. But maybe if you wanna have like your own conclusion on the topic, and maybe like add your perspective of how do talent acquisition, because you are coming from this space, you are working as part of the talent acquisition department, and I think at the end of the day, any marketing effort that we do as a company, videos or whatever, at the end of the day needs to serve the talent acquisition team. So maybe if you wanna give your perspective on that and like conclude our webinar for today.
Yeah, sure. To summarize, I would say video content, however it's consumed, social media and whatever platform that is, I genuinely believe is the future. And candidates, particularly as Gen Z become, take up the majority of the workspace, are going to be wanting to consume this content and want to see it and almost demand this content. And I think slowly we'll stop applying, or will choose employers based on how authentic and how much of a window they have into their employer brand. And I genuinely believe video is the way forward for this. So even if you're not doing it now, your competitors will be doing it, and they'll be ahead of the curve. So my advice would be to get ahead of the curve, start doing this type of content sooner rather than later, because again, in a competitive market, where there are lots of companies fighting for the same talent, it's this type of content and this type of material which is going to put you above the rest and put you above the noise. And I genuinely believe that. I guess the only other thing that to mention as well, in terms of getting started, like I say, pick up your phone and have a go. Talk to your people. We've ran very small advocacy workshops where we've spoken to different teams and different team members, and we've got some really valuable insights from that, again, outside of the normal data that you can measure. And from that has come different conversations of people proactively wanting to be involved with featuring in video content. So keep an eye out, listen to your people, listen to what they're saying. They were a candidate at some point, so they can often give you the best insight into what should be created and the direction that you should take.
Cool. Perfect. I want to thank you, Tom. I want to thank the audience that came today. Wait, we have a question from the audience just before we go. Okay, question from Mark. A tip where to start. We haven't add any content right now? Do you, like, if Mark want to start, what will be your suggestion to start with creating video content?
Good question. So I would say, so I'll go back to my earlier point around pick up your smartphone. What I would do in that situation is I would prepare a couple of easy questions for somebody to answer. So a great question would be, why should somebody join your team? Or something like, why should you join HiBob, in our case, or whatever your company is, and either film or have individuals film themselves answering that question. So nice and easy. You don't have to create a massive script. That's what I would start with. Have a few key questions to film people answering. Film it on your phone, on your iPhone, or whatever smartphone you have, and post on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has auto-generated captions available. Maybe if you have a marketing team, ask your marketing team to see if they can maybe put some background music in. But that's how I would start, and just post that on LinkedIn. You don't need to put any money behind it as a paid campaign. Just post it on your own LinkedIn and see what engagement you have. See what people say.
Great. Mark, I hope it helps. And I want to thank Tom for the time. HiBob is an amazing company with great culture, and I'm happy to partner with. Thank you all for joining us today. Shai Zehavi, wait. Where should we post initially? Our official international account or personal?
Good question. Good question. I would say I would first of all send it probably from your personal account first to trial it. Maybe film yourself first and put it out there. So put it on your own personal LinkedIn as a start and see what people start to say and what feedback you get. And then, you know, if that gets some good engagement and you know you've tested it and as people seem to like it and you've got some feedback from your audience, then the next level, right, of posting it from your company pages, look at posting it on your job descriptions. I think start small and start with what you're comfortable with. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Like I say, personally, I'd probably start from my personal account first, get feedback, and then move into different avenues. But again, do what's right for your business and follow your gut. But yeah, as a general rule, start a little bit smaller, and then as you get feedback, work more. And like I say, great thing about video content, right, is it's always there to be reused and reshared in different formats and different marketplaces. So you know, don't be afraid to try it in a different location or a different platform if it doesn't quite work in one.
Perfect. Thanks, Tom. Shai, I hope it helps. Thanks. And we encourage you to promote your brand, to have more employees, to share your brand online. This is, at the end of the day, the best marketing tool, and this for sure the best talent acquisition effort you can do for your team and for your brand. And you should definitely follow up Tom and HiBob online. They are doing a great job. And I want to thank you. Have a wonderful day and hope to see you all soon.
Thanks, Yotam. Thank you, everyone, for listening.